Is the Turin DF54 the best, most affordable, all-around, single-dose grinder that beginners and even experienced enthusiasts can buy for their coffee bar at home? Hi, I'm Liz, pro barista and former cafe manager, and I believe that enjoying good coffee should not be a luxury, which is why today we're looking at the grinder that's been disrupting the market because of its great performance at such a low cost. There are several reviews out there praising the almost unbelievable value you can get from it. But today, I want to help you make an informed decision. So I'll tell you all of the pros of the DF54 as well as all of the setbacks. By the end of this video, you'll know if this is the right grinder for you. For this, we'll look at three things: build quality, performance, and versatility. And to make things easier, I'll provide my Happy Bean rating to let you know if this grinder is gonna give you enough bang for your buck. But first, I'd like to give a shout out to the amazing team at 8oz Coffee for providing the unit for this review. So check them out in the link in my description if you're interested in getting this grinder or any other piece of coffee gear for your home bar. Let's go. Price and build quality usually go hand in hand. So for a grinder that's just $230, we shouldn't expect a lot, right? Well, this one surprised me. When it comes to materials and overall design, the DF54 looks solid. The grinder has a beautiful aesthetic that I can see complementing any coffee setup. On a first impression, it certainly looks sturdy and has a great weight to it, around 4.5 kilograms or close to 10 pounds. It is made of a robust aluminum body and a powder coating finish that ensures durability. And it packs all of the performance and sturdiness in a compact form that makes it fit under any kitchen cabinet and in between your other coffee gear without any issues. Heck, I even gained space when I replaced my old grinders. However, the most important parts of the design are the details, and yet they're easily overlooked. You see, Turin did a good job paying attention to the little things that improve the overall experience. Not saying that they didn't have to make some sacrifices, but for this cost, I was just afraid that they had to cut in performance, and we'll get to that soon. One noticeable detail is having the power bottom be metallic instead of plastic. It makes it feel premium. But here's something that truly improved my workflow. For the dosing cup, Turin has been so receptive to feedback. They have listened to the comments of users who were making do and creating 3D prints adaptations to hold the cup at an angle for some of their other grinders, instead of having it this way. So in this version of the grinder, a rubber adapter has been included. This addition is fantastic when grinding directly into the cup. Can you see the difference? If you prefer to dose directly into your portafilter, you also have the option to skip the adapter and place it like this. In my experience, you can also put your funnel on top for even less messy grinding. It is made for a 58mm portafilter though, so keep that in mind if you plan to use it this way. Oh, and by the way, the same goes for the cup being 58mm wide as well. So if you prefer to grind and transfer and you've got an industry standard portafilter, it'll fit perfectly like so. The silicone bellows are a great addition, both to hold more coffee and to make sure that there is no leftover inside the grinder. Without the bellows, the hopper holds up to 20 grams of coffee, but with it, it can go all the way up to 50 grams. Now, nothing is perfect, and there are some design compromises that kinda justify the price. I think this can impact your decision if you're considering the DF54, but first, let's take a look inside. This is a 54mm flat burr grinder, and this enough is a lot for the price. For those of you who don't know why this is a big deal, I'll be making a video on types of grinders. But to cut it short, most grinders in this price range are usually conical burr grinders made out of plastic. Flat burrs allow you to get more flavor clarity from your coffee and more consistency as they grind your beans uniformly, which is one of the main reasons the DF54 is becoming a staple for beginner enthusiasts. However, the motor is not the most powerful at only 150 watts. Is this enough to provide you with a good grinding experience, taste profile, and versatility? Let's not jump to conclusions as I'll be testing it out later in this video. But talking about downsides on the build quality and design. First, there's the plastic dosing cup. It does feel cheap, I'm not gonna lie. I personally don't mind it, but I know a lot of people don't appreciate using plastic tools for their coffee. I also understand this is done to reduce cost, and you can always upgrade to a stainless steel dosing cup too if you're looking for a sturdier one. It'll set you back around $35 though. In any case, I think it's nice to see the coffee falling as it grinds, so for now, I think I'll keep my plastic one. The other big setback that I've seen people complain about a lot is the bellows. From a first glance, it looks okay. However, it is very flimsy and can easily fall off. There's nothing holding it in place, so I just try to be careful. Not a deal breaker, but something to consider. Also, the wooden lid feels lower quality than the rest of materials. But we won't get all worked up here. This is what you do to offer a lower price. And given the option, these small elements like the plastic cup or the lid are exactly where I will make budget cuts to be able to focus on the burrs and the grinding tech. Now, I want to see for myself if the promised performance of this grinder actually lives up to the expectation. For this, I'll show you how it works and we'll measure grinding time and retention. But first, if you're enjoying this video and gaining any value from it, please consider liking it and subscribing to my channel. It's such a tremendous support that helps me grow so I can keep making content and helping other coffee lovers elevate their experience at home. This grinder features a stepless grind adjustment with this chrome-wrapped dial and a visible metal indicator for precise tuning. The reference numbers here are such a refreshing change from the little knobs without any reference that made dialing in a coffee so challenging. So if you're just starting out, this will make things a lot easier for you. However, if you're an experienced enthusiast, let me tell you something about this. The indicator here is fixed, which means that you'll have to align and calibrate the burrs if you ever decide to swap them. Just something to consider. Using the grinder couldn't be simpler. You only need to put the coffee beans in this hopper. Then you press this button on. The ground coffee will exit through the chute. Once the grind is done, you have to press it again to stop. Keep in mind that unlike other grinders, it does not have a timer or an auto-stop function. But this is a single dose grinder, which means you always have to weigh out your beans and cannot store them in a hopper. Although this should be common practice for at-home specialty coffee brewing, if you're used to a certain level of convenience, this might disrupt your routine. On the bright side, during all of my testing, the grinds are always fluffy and with minimal clumping. They're truly a joy to see. They also look quite even, with not too many fines or chaff lying around. The DF is also quiet, for a grinder that is. But it's been a blessing to my household, no longer having to put a towel over it or wait until the baby's awake to grind. With that said, it is also a little bit slower than other grinders. But again, for the price point, it might not be a deal breaker. Let's test it out and you can decide for yourself. First, we're gonna grind for espresso. Because I'm using these light roasted beans and I'm doing 18 grams of them, I'm gonna go a little bit finer here, all the way to 15. Just to make sure that we're getting a good setting for the level of roast that we're using. So let's check it out. 18 grams in, and let the timer begin. All right, 18 grams out, which is fantastic, honestly. As you can see here, I use the bellows and that helps a lot with retention. So later on, I'm gonna be doing another test without it. So you can see how much it actually keeps without you blowing air into the machine. So now I'm gonna wait out another 18 grams, but we're gonna be grinding for filter coffee and see how that goes in terms of time. I'm gonna move it all the way to 55, which I believe will be a good number for filter coffee. Let's say you're making Calita or a V60 brew. So let's see how long that takes. Timer now. Oof. That's a lot of coffee flying around. All right. It took around 7 seconds less, but you can see the timer and judge for yourself. I gotta say, it feels slow when grinding espresso, which is okay for a home setup, but it kinda takes the express out of the espresso, am I right? If you're too picky about it, this might constitute a setback. This grinder is supposed to reduce static and the mess caused by it, thanks to the ionizer in the exit chute. Although in my experience, the ionizer works only partially. As you can see, small particles and fines are still suspended in the air and end up making dirt. The lighter the roast, the more I see it. This is actually quite normal, even for higher-end single-dose grinders, because there is an imbalance between the charge of the particles in the coffee and in the grinder, which means they repel one another. And when I compare it to any of my other grinders, the improvement is pretty noticeable. If you want to lower the mess, a simple fix is to use the RDT when grinding light roast, as I just did. So it will look as clean as possible. And you can actually get all of the coffee you put in out. So let's see how it fixes. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better. I'd rather have, like, I don't know, 12 little things flying around than 200. So retention, perfection 18.0. So actually 0 retention with the RDT and a lot less mess with the static in the actual chute. It's worth mentioning that the DF54 also comes with an integrated anti-popcorn cover, which enhances grinding speed and prevents uneven grinding. So how does it work? Well, it stops beans and pieces of them from bouncing out of the hopper, enhancing overall efficiency. In my experience, this alone, without the bellows, will give me great results, retaining only around 0.1 grams. And let's actually try it out. For this, I'll be grinding the same beans at the same setting 3 times to get an average. First, I'll get a dark roast average and then a light roast. I'm weighing exactly 16 grams each time. I won't spray the beans as I want to test the overall retention, and I'll use the bellows just to clean it up before each test. Starting with the dark roast, I'll run the 3 tests, and as you can see, the retention was minimal, between 0.1 and 0.2 grams. When we hit the bellows, you see where all of the grounds were being kept. There is little to no mess on the grinder, so all of the retention was happening inside. When doing the test with a lighter roast, I was expecting a bit more retention due to the static, but I was completely wrong. All 3 passes gave me a similar average. Honestly, just 1 pass retained 0.2 grams. Versus 2 passes with the dark roast, so the average here is lower. This is an impressive result and a testament to the promised performance of the DF54. But what's really curious is that the lighter roast caused a bigger mess due to a static, yet the overall retention was lower. Again, you can easily eliminate the static by using RDT, and the bellows should take care of the rest. I have to admit, I was skeptical about the all-purpose range of the DF54. In theory, it can grind coffee to use with any method, from Turkish coffee to French press, with a simple turn of this knob. But I'm not a huge believer in all-purpose grinders, as they're usually flaws on one or both ends of the scale. In fact, let me tell you a story. When I first used it, I saw the numbers range from 0 to 90. So I thought, well, it seems sensible that 10 will yield espresso. So I'll set it there and see what happens. I was using a medium dark roasted blend, thought out to excel as espresso. And it was fresh, roasted only 7 days before. The grind was so fine that what I got out of the machine after 30 seconds of extraction was pure oil. It was a foul smelling thing that choked my machine entirely. So I decided to go up to 15. You know, we usually do small adjustments, but I thought maybe adding 5 more steps would be better in this case. Still 30 seconds in, this is what I got. I went all the way to 20, and that's where I got espresso. The amount of crema you get here is unbelievable, and the taste is well-rounded. It still felt a bit sour, so for the 4th and last shot of that round, I went to 21.5, and I got one of the best espresso shots I've had in a while. So if you were thinking to use the DF54 for espresso, you're most definitely covered, with the caveat that it'll be slower than others. However, don't take these numbers as a rule. I've seen in several forums and video review discussions about the DF54 that the variance is quite large in regards to which range people is using to grind any given method. As you may know, this is largely depending on your coffee beans, the freshness, and the roast level too. For example, in further testing with lightly roasted beans, I was able to set my espresso between 10 and 16 with excellent results, while pour-overs have been somewhere between 45 and 60 with light to medium roasts. So the ranges are not written in stone. especially if you like to play around and venture with different roast levels and beans. Today is a different day. I know I'm wearing the same clothes just for the sake of consistency, but I just really wanted to show you that you can do pour over with the DF54. I know these grounds should be good just by looking at them, but we're gonna test it out right now. This is a medium dark roast blend, and we set the grinder at 55. You still have a lot of numbers to go up until 90. So if this works, and I'm sure it will, that you know for sure that you can achieve French press, cold brew, and everything that's under. So mocha pot, aeropress, and of course, espresso, and even up to Turkish coffee. Let's see. This is very good. It's actually very well-rounded. What it's yielding is nutty, chocolatey flavors, exactly what I'm expecting. So I am very happy with it. Now, considering all of these factors, let's assign a happy bean score to the Turin DF54 all-purpose grinder. And this is how it works. Based on my experience, using a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being this item should be removed from every marketplace and you should never pay for it, and 5 being you're getting even more value than what you paid for. I give the DF54 a 4.5. If you look at the list of pros and cons, you'll quickly realize that this grinder provides so much unexpected value for the specialty coffee grinder market right now. There aren't many flaws to it, and the compromises that have been made in terms of the build quality of the accessories are exactly the right choices. I will certainly recommend it to someone who's looking for a really affordable solution to cover all of their brewing needs and isn't bothered by single dosing or manually starting and stopping the grind. Remember to check the link in the description if this video convinced you to get the DF54, and I promise that you won't regret it. And please consider subscribing to my channel and go check out any of my other reviews. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.